Welcome, everyone, and happy Valentine's Day. And no, I didn't, in case you were wondering. Welcome to you, whether you live in a family or with friends, in a partnership, a marriage, or on your own. Whether you're male or female, straight or gay, transgender, non-binary, however and wherever you define yourself on that wonderful rainbow spectrum of human gender and sexuality, you are welcome here. And now, as is our custom, I shall light our chalice as a symbol of our free and inclusive religious faith. And if you have a candle, please do light it with me now. May this flame be a symbol of the spark of love that unites us all in our diversity, now and always. Amen. Our theme today is love and Lent. And I'd like to begin with some words by the American spiritual philosopher David Spangler, who writes, "When I think of love, I think of something robust and intelligent, vigorous and skillful, grounded and wise. It's not a vague feeling or a diffused emotion. It is embodied in action, in behavior, in relationship, and in responsibility. Love as a feeling is not enough. What we want is love as the full-bodied expression of a life lived compassionately and intelligently, with a sense of its connectedness with a greater whole." Words by David Spangler. So let's sing our first hymn, which today is number 195 in the Purple Hymn Book, if you have it. It is "We Sing a Love That Sets All People Free." Hymn number 195.
Flame,
we come to a time of prayer. Spirit of life and love, be with us now. Be with us in our giving and receiving, in our travelling and our arriving. Be with us in our longing and our loving, in our losing and our leaving. Be with us in our listening and our speaking, in our singing and our praying. Source of all that is and was and ever will be with us now and always. Amen. Our story this morning is also a poem. It's called Abou ben Adhem, and it comes from a book called Doorways to the Soul, or at least that's where I found it. I'm sure that's not where it originally comes from. It's an ancient story. So I'd like to share that with you now. Abou ben Adhem, may his tribe increase, awoke one night from a deep dream of peace, and saw within the moonlight in his room, making it rich and like a lily in bloom, an angel writing in a book of gold. Exceeding peace had made Ben Adhem bold, and to the presence in the room he said, "What writest thou?" The vision raised its head, and with a look made of all sweet accord, answered, "The names of those who love the Lord." "And is mine one?" said Abou. "Nay, not so," replied the angel. Abou spoke more low, but cheerily still, and said, "I pray thee then, write me as one that loves his fellow men." The angel wrote and vanished. The next night it came again with a great awakening light, and showed the names whom love of God had blessed, and lo, Ben Adhem's name led all the rest. This morning we have two guests who are known to many in this church. And the first of those is Stephen Crowther, who has taken several services here. He's going to read a piece by Victoria E. Safford, and it's called Any Other Questions? So here's Stephen reading for us now.
People ask me sometimes, is this a gay church? It is a privilege to answer. Ours is absolutely, gladly, hopefully and humbly, gaily and a gay church, a gay tradition where everyone, including heterosexual members and friends, is welcome, where everyone is needed, where everyone's experience is cherished as a sacred text, because no one's experiences of living or loving can be comprehensive, because each of us holds clues the others need about how to live with dignity and joy as a human person, and none of us knows enough about that yet to be considered whole. It is absolutely a gay church, even as ours is a gay world, if you look around. Gay church, straight church, people's church, a human congregation made holy by the holy hopes and fears and dreams of all who wish to come. Come in, we say, come out, come in. We're all in this together. I will not speak of tolerance with its courteous clenched teeth and bitter resignation. I will not speak about acceptance of other people and some other kind of lifestyle. I can only look in laughing wonder at human life in all its incarnations. I can taste only in passing the breath of the spirit of life on my mouth and understand our common longing to breathe in deep, deep gulps of it. I cannot think of being anyone else's ally, because even that implies some degree of separation, some degree of safety for some of us, not all. We are allied with no one and with nothing but love. The larger love transcending all our understanding, within which all the differing, gorgeously various, variant, beautifully deviant aspects of ourselves are bound in elegant unity. I know that on some sad and disappointing days, these words describe the church that yet shall be and not the church that is. I know. But I know too that to answer is an act of creation. To answer this question and some others is a privilege, a prophetic imperative, a joy, a duty, and a holy sacrament.
Thank you, Stephen, for choosing and reading those words for us this morning. We are coming now to a time of reflection. And we're going to begin that with some words written and read by Shana Begum. Shana spent a few months in Plymouth a couple of summers ago and became a regular attender here during that time and led a service for us. And she very kindly agreed to write something for us. And it's a reflection on what is Valentine's Day. And after her reading, we'll have some silence, followed by music. So here's Shana.
What is Valentine's Day? A time for matchmaking or expressing secret love? What is Valentine's Day? Who is Valentine's Day for? For him and her, or everyone in between? What is Valentine's Day? Appreciating friends, admiring family? What is Valentine's Day? Who is Valentine's Day for? Lovers, hetero, homo, other, those with, those without? What is Valentine's Day? Human love, his, hers, theirs, to the hearts of trees? What is Valentine's Day? Who is Valentine's Day for? Appreciation for one another, celebrating all kinds of love. What is Valentine's Day? Who is Valentine's Day for?
Thank you to Shana. So let's take now a minute or so in silence for our own prayers and contemplation. Last Sunday after the service, I went for a walk. It was a lot nicer then than it is today. I went for a walk with my friend Gay. Some of you know her, or you may have seen her play the piano here. And so we went for this lovely sunny walk in Central Park, and we got talking about LGBT+, which, as I'm sure you know, stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, plus other sexual identities. And we were speaking about the spectrum of difference that those letters and symbols try to encapsulate, and also some of the tensions that sometimes arise within them. And she told me she'd recently been interviewed by the Plymouth Herald, our local newspaper, about the bookshop she used to run with her partner Prudence. Because this is LGBT+ History Month, I think that's why the paper was particularly interested in her story at this particular time, and I thought you might like to hear it or be reminded of it if you know Gay. So Gay and Prudence met in Grassroots Bookshop in Manchester in 1979 when Prudence walked through the door as a publishing rep. And they soon got together and decided they'd like to set up an alternative bookshops themselves. And so one summer they decided to travel around the country looking for somewhere suitable to set up their dream. And they decided on Plymouth. And Gay says, it was quite peculiar. Within an hour of being here, we thought, yes, this is it. And carried on from there. The city was large enough to support a radical bookshop, and it didn't have one already. So they set up their shop, which they called In Other Words, in 1982 in Manamead Road, though it then moved to Mutley Plain. And the shop soon became much more than just a bookshop. It was a political and a community hub too, with a very well-used notice board. Gay and Prudence supported CND, the Campaign for Nuclear Disarmament, as well as other causes, and they also sold tickets for local events. The 80s was quite a dark time for the LGBT community. And maybe some of you have been watching the recent TV series, It's a Sin. It's currently being shown on Channel 4. And it's highlighted the fears and the prejudice that LGBT+ people faced during that era, especially with AIDS. It was also at this time that Margaret Thatcher introduced the infamous Section 28, which banned local authorities from what they called promoting homosexuality or pretended family relationships. And against that backdrop, In Other Words, provided a safe space. Gay says it was definitely a place where anyone could come, but it did function as a safe place, particularly for LGBT+ people. There wasn't really anywhere else. You could be fairly invisible there, she said, if you wanted to be, just looking at the books. You knew no one was going to pick on you or get stroppy. Alan Butler, who co-runs Pride in Plymouth and used to run a meeting for refugees here in our church hall, says that Gay and Prudence were trailblazers and that the bookshop was quite revolutionary as a public space. It wasn't exclusively a gay bookshop, but it was a radical bookshop. So there were different sorts of books and different ideas. Unfortunately, the shop always struggled financially, and particularly so, of course, when online shopping began. And it finally closed in 2007, after 25 years. And also, very sadly, in 2011, Prudence passed away aged 62 after being diagnosed with cancer. But Gay still keeps the bookshop alive in her heart and continues to sell books online from her attic. Not so much for the money as for the sheer love and satisfaction of doing it and the pleasure those books give to the people who buy them. So when I read the story in the Herald, and there's more to it than that, and I'll post the link for those of you who might be interested, what struck me was the importance of creating a safe space, somewhere where everyone was welcome and where you could be yourself without being thought of as other. somewhere where different sexualities were just normal, to be expected, assumed and welcomed as part of the richness of life. Somewhere you wouldn't feel out of place or worried about being judged or have to justify yourself. Times have moved on considerably since the 1980s, of course, thank goodness. There's much more awareness and understanding, and people hopefully no longer feel the need to be invisible. But nevertheless, Gay finished her interview with these words: "In so many places, including Plymouth, if you're gay in the wrong place at the wrong time, it can be dangerous. You can still get beaten up. It's still often really hard for young people to come out, I think. You really have to gear yourself up and talk to your parents. It's still tough. Social attitudes have changed, but there's still the worry of how people are going to react." We like to think that this is a welcoming church, an inclusive church, a church that doesn't so much accept people as they are, although obviously that's a good start, but actively welcomes them as who they are. A church that truly embraces each one of us as we are, as Stephen's reading expressed so powerfully with these words: "Gay church, straight church, people's church, a human congregation made holy by the holy hopes and fears and dreams of all who wish to come. Come in, we say. Come out, come in. We're all in this together." This Wednesday is Ash Wednesday, marking the beginning of Lent. And Lent may seem to sit somehow in opposition to the exuberance of diversity that we've been talking about. It's a time for simplifying and purifying and giving things up. But I think it's crucial to remember that Lent is not about being pious or self-righteous or miserable. Goodness knows we don't need any more of that. Lent is a time traditionally for getting closer to God, your God, not anyone else's understanding of what that word means, but yours. It's also a time to let go of fear and prejudice, to let go of whatever is holding you back, and of any ways you might inadvertently be holding other people back too. Abou ben Adhem discovered in his vivid encounter with the angel that the way to get close to his God, who was Allah, was to love his fellow men. When he did that, he discovered that Allah was well pleased with him. Indeed, he went right to the top of the angels' list. He was blessed. And that's surely very much the way we too will find peace in our own hearts and souls and with our God, by fully embracing our fellow travellers in life. All those dear souls who struggle and rejoice, who question and seek answers, who get lost and find themselves time and again, which of course is all of us. May it be so. It's time to sing again now, and our second hymn is hymn number 188. This one's in the Green Book. Let Love Continue Long, 188. Thank you for your lovely singing this morning. Thanks too to Stephen and Shana for their readings and taking the time and the trouble to record them for us. The closing words I've chosen today come from this book, which some of you will have or know of, which is, if you can see it, I don't know whether you can see it actually. No, you can't. Let me put it there. That's better. Fragments of Holiness. It's our daily reader produced by the Lindsay Press. It has some lovely readings in it, just short ones for each day. And today's were particularly appropriate. They're by Sarah York, who is a Unitarian Universalist minister. And she says this: loving is more than compromise and trade-off. It is mutual nurturing of growth. Loving is more than trust in each other. It is trust in something that transcends human expectation. Love is the mutual gift of freedom with the mutual gift of commitment. Love is more than being true to ourselves. It is being true to a common reverence for life and a common vision of community. Love is more than loving each other. It is loving life itself. Go well.